I mean, this is a little bit typical, I think, of what people are going to be facing today. It is pretty wet and pretty cold at the moment.
It's pretty wet, pretty cold.
But it's not going to dampen our spirits, is it?
Well, actually, if you think about it, on the Queen's coronation, June 2nd, 1953, that was a complete washout as well. The Diamond Jubilee and the pageant that took place 10 years ago, complete washout. So in a way, this is keeping with yet another glorious royal British tradition, so we shouldn't be that negative about it.
There's lots to talk about what happened last night, but I've got to start with Paddington Bear and Her Majesty, because, I mean, I don't know when that was recorded, but wasn't that just lovely?
I have to say, that was absolutely the cherry on the cake. I mean, viewers will remember the opening for the Olympic Games in 2012, when the Queen was paired with the other great British icon, James Bond. And there's definitely elements of that here, pairing the Queen with another great British icon, Paddington Bear. And I have to say, the Queen put in an Oscar-worthy performance.
Didn't she
Wasn't
just?
she amazing? I was really and so happy and engaged. I just thought it was a really fantastically good performance from Her Majesty.
I just thought when she got her marmalade sandwich out of the bag, she had a twinkle in her eye, which I thought was just really lovely.
And then, of course, after that, we had the opening by Queen, and Her Majesty and Paddington Bear were chiming in with the applause for We Will Rock You on their teacups and saucers. So, well, very well executed and put together. And as indeed was the whole event. I mean, you know, I think the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge put it perfectly in a tweet in 3 words. They just said, "What a show." And it really was a spectacular show. Against that great backdrop of Buckingham Palace, with a magnificent light display and drones there as well. Brian May opening in 2012. He'd been on top of the 2002 rather, on top of the palace, now in front of the Victoria Memorial. Really good on all fronts. And of course, opened by Queen the band, closed by another Queen, the Queen of Motown, Diana Ross.
Yes.
So a very regal occasion.
Fabulous, wasn't it? Absolutely fabulous. But what have we got to look forward to today, then?
Well, apart from getting wet.
It's worth it.
The big Jubilee lunches today, so there are going to be 100,000 street parties and private gatherings taking place across the nation, because the Queen's also very keen to ensure that this is not just a chance to celebrate her, but to celebrate our nation, celebrate your communities. After 2 years of COVID, people need to have a break, get out to meet those neighbours that they've been living next door to, haven't actually got to see. And then we've got to have the great Jubilee pageant taking place at 2:30, going down Whitehall and then down the Mall to Buckingham Palace. Huge show, thousands of participants in that show. There'll be marching bands and parades. There'll be a celebration of the Queen's life, every decade of the Queen's life, and we'll see buses dedicated to each decade. So we're going to have Sir Cliff Richard from the 50s, and Dame Shirley Bassey will be there as well. Some amazing characters from the history of Britain over the last 70 years, all culminating in Ed Sheeran leading a National Treasure choir at Buckingham Palace to sing God Save the Queen.
I mean, it will be quite an event, you have to say. And whatever's happening with the weather today, the last 4 days have been spectacular.
They've been spectacular, and they've also actually, I think, given a bit of a boost to the nation. You know, we need a bit. Times are tough. And I think this has been just what the nation needed. You could get that sense on the streets in London during trooping and elsewhere. And as I've seen with Vox Pops on the streets throughout the country, everyone's in a bit of a happier spirit. You know, when the Queen's coronation came, we were in a period of economic tightening, and that gave the nation a boost after rationing and so forth. And I think this is doing something similar.